Alright, today's a bit weird. I mean, I'm obviously, well, maybe it's not obvious to you, but I'm recording this really late. Because, I don't know, maybe the hurricane caused weird Amazon shipping this, but everything that was supposed to come out this week is being shipped in like 5 different packages, and this was the only one that arrived today. So I guess I'm just doing this now and figuring it out, whatever. But obviously, oh, I guess we got the one anime. Although I think this one's like a mix of different things. Yeah, okay. There's some Japanese audio there. I think it was Japanese, English, and one other nationality that worked on it. I'm a bit curious about it. Probably the most curious about this over everything else, but there were some really interesting looking things that came out this week, but they're going to be arriving tomorrow and Thursday and Friday, and I don't know. I'm just accepting the fact that I've got at least one thing to show today, and hopefully I'll be able to, gosh, come on camera, focus, be able to, I don't know. Well, it means next week's going to be okay. I still haven't pre-ordered next month's stuff. Guess I'm going to be doing that tonight. Yeah, there's DVD, but I don't know, it'll be fine. So, if you're not sure what this is, from what I've read, it's kind of like Fantasia in that it's a lot of animated stuff done to music. There's a lot of classical music and then one song unique to this. Oh, there's English and Japanese audio. Okay. And I thought Sanrio maybe worked on this. You know, the people who made Unico and Ringing Bell. Oh well, I'm just remembering that. So obviously I got Mario XCOM. Not sure how high a priority to play this is for me, because, you know, I'm curious and I want to give it a shot. And it could be fun. I never actually played XCOM. I'm just familiar with, you know, just the brutalness of it. This I don't think looks like it'll be brutal, but maybe it'll have the fun element from it. And maybe now's a good time to start it up, because Splatoon is plastic. Dick. Yeah, Splatoon is currently in the middle of server updates or server maintenance. Okay. So many fragments, I'm just gonna toss them. Yeah, nothing to it. I also got this. I don't know how long it's been out, but I'm like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. You'll already find that I've put the game case in my thing. And into non-anime things, we got Jessica Jones and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I'm surprised. I thought I was checking for this, but maybe I brain farted and forgot that it was coming out. I don't know if I even got it on time. Jessica Jones. Actually, I probably didn't get this on time, because if it was for sale at Best Buy, it probably came out at the latest last Tuesday, but it could have been later. And Jessica Jones is more Marvel. This one's interesting because this is one of the Netflix series, and they haven't been releasing those on DVD lately. Anyways, putting those aside, here's this week's anime DVD collection update. So before I talk about One Piece a little, you might notice it's not as anime figure-y around here. I worked on a project over the weekend to basically get them all moved more or less where I wanted them to be. There were a couple of things that ended up in different places, because it's all centered around that Saber poster thing that I got. The frame arrived, and I kind of figured out where I wanted it to be, and I realized how much more height I had, and you know, it all worked out really well. I always wanted those figures to be over there in the mantelpiece by the TV in one large group. Now, Madoka needs to be a bit higher up, and I kind of figure either over time her pedestal will rise, or I will get another figurine that will go underneath her that she will stand on and be higher than the Haruhi cast. So, you know, that was fun. It's not quite done yet. I'm going to actually play around with lighting it up a bit more, because now that it looks a lot fancier, it's kind of demanding better lighting so you can actually see what's there. Like from this angle, you know, I can tell what they are, but it'd be even better if there was lighting. So, that should be arriving within the next couple of days as well to play with. It's an interesting idea I'm going to try to play with. May or may not work out. But, One Piece. I actually have been enjoying the arc. It moves a little slowly, but I kind of like the characters and the situation a bit. There's been some... I'm not entirely sure what it is. It kind of reminds me a little bit of some of the stuff from Gate. Just in the feeling of how overwhelming some of the situations are, and how maybe people who should have known better ended up getting themselves into a situation, I guess. I don't know if I want to talk too much about it because it's weird. But I kind of, you know, the characters, they're very refreshing, kind of neat to look at. Just the whole variety of them, good guys, bad guys, gray guys, and, you know, everything. And there's a couple of running jokes that were wearing themselves very thin, but the show seems to have immediately switched away from those. From some of those, at least. We'll have to see for the others, I guess. So it's weird. You know, it's enjoyable. I really wish there was more of it. It's, I'm not sure if this is building up to as spectacular an arc as some of the best we've seen so far, per se. But that's the thing about One Piece, is it can be very surprising in that regard. It seems to be maintaining a kind of interesting thing. There's some heavy topics kind of going on, but it doesn't seem to be too heavy-handed. It doesn't seem to be retreading ground, even though it's kind of close. So it's playing a careful game, but it seems to be overall working. And what was I just thinking about? It was something else. You know, because I was saying some of that stuff, and I was actually thinking about Rick and Morty Season 3, and how it's interesting how the first two seasons, I think by this point had at least one super powerful, emotionally invigorating episode, and Season 3 hasn't had that yet, if it is going to have it. But it's interesting because it's fun. It kind of knows that it is being itself at this point. You know, it's being a successful third season. I mean, like, you'll have, like, the Pickle Rick episode, where it's Pickle Rick, and, you know, you have Rick kind of really announcing the episodes as they're going, and despite the fact that it's, you know, being very obvious, oh, yes, we're just going to show you how awesome Rick is as a pickle, or something like that, you just have fun with it. It's fun. And, I don't know. Now, One Piece I don't think is necessarily as engaging as Rick and Morty is at this point, but I don't know, it's a weird comparison, all that stuff. Mostly, I've just been spending most of my time playing Splatoon 2. I guess it was a combination of knowing I was getting close to level 28 when I could finally get the Aerospray RG, and then I could actually play with the Sprinkler again while still having Aerospray goodness, I guess. But I also started getting an understanding of how ability chunks work. And while I didn't have a complete understanding, and I think I'm closer to having a complete understanding now, I'm not sure if I've optimized how to deal with them, mostly because so what I basically found out, I kind of knew that you needed 10 chunks to create one ability, and I did that by observing, I guess, the new Spike guy, whose name I can't think of right now, and I was thinking, alright, so if I get 30, then I could full ability one piece of item, but it doesn't quite work that way, because once you have one ability on there, then to put a second sub-ability takes, the second of the same sub-ability on that item takes an additional 20, and then 30 for the final one. That 31 I was kind of hoping wouldn't be the case, but I wasn't surprised. So, I guess the idea is you play and grind a lot using the gear that's more likely to generate the abilities, the sub-abilities you want, and then you scrub them to get the chunks, and once you accumulate enough chunks you can throw an ability onto something else. So I know that's a minimum. With the Splatfest tee, that one scrubs, instead of 20,000 like everything else, Splatfest tees are only 2,000. So it seems the most efficient you can get there in terms of time is to just keep scrubbing every time that gets its first ability, because second and third ability, even though that's more efficient money-wise, and you have to decide what you're doing money, and I guess I have to be efficient money-wise because I've lost a lot of money to scrubbing, but there's not a lot of clothing left that I don't have, so it's whatever. But you gotta be careful with that, I guess. And so I'm basically just working that, and of course there's a break right now because servers are currently in maintenance mode, so it's all cool. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of babbling, and exhaustion is definitely a part of that. So maybe I should just go ahead and end it there. Y'all have a nice week.